Why not? What up, Pete? What up, Bounty? Lobster? S1? Eric? Hello, friends. How we doing? Happy Sunday. Hey, Kano. Thank you for the sub for 9 months in a row, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I was thinking I should probably turn off TTS for podcast, huh? Yes, sir. Podcast nights. That's the new thing. Sundays are... It's a show, you know, not a podcast. It's not gonna be you just sitting here listening to me for an hour. I mean, it's a little bit of that, but it's also interactive. I think this one will be more interactive than last week. That's the goal. Up, cats. I'll do some interviewing, but I don't want to just do interviews, unlike some of my past shows. I'm not sure who I'll interview first. I'm thinking about it, because I also want to hit a lot of different areas with the show. First interview is the mod squad. True, true. All right, chat, it is a little after 9, so I guess I can get going here. Oh, let me check the chat combiner real quick. Make sure that's all good before I do. That one should be going. What up, Backshore? What's up, Starry? Hello, hello.
Hi.
Ah! So loud. Dan, thank you for the sub as well, man. 5 months in a row. Appreciate you, dude. How you doing, my friend? Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the support, dude. Really goes to a lot of stuff we're working on this year. Really trying to take it seriously, which I want to talk about tonight. How to take things seriously. That's the focus. Kind of, not too seriously. Can't believe Ben booked Obama's first interview. Bro, don't spoil. You know how hard I worked for that? The pop off. Hi, Star. I see ya. Let me make sure TikTok's also cooperating. Hopefully. Hey, it is nice. Love to see it. All right, chat. Hello, are you working? Maybe. There we go. Okay, I don't know. I changed the transition stuff and it got all weird. Good evening, good afternoon. How's it going, guys? Welcome in. Hope we're having a good weekend, good Saturday. I guess it's still the weekend technically. It's weird doing it on a Sunday night because it's pre-work week for me, but I think I'll get used to it and like it, so excited. What's up, Dream? How was Spider-Man? It was good, man. I saw it yesterday around 4. Yeah, it was really good. I will say, after hearing your guys' opinions on it, I kind of agree. I think I wouldn't put it as a top Spider-Man movie I've seen. It was solid though. I would. The only thing I'd say is I think the plot was a little predictable, just based on what I had seen from the movie. Like the trailer, I feel like you can kind of figure out what's going to happen just based on the trailer if you know the characters. But you know, it was still good. Still good. I think some people are probably more surprised, but particularly because we play so much Rivals. I know that whole universe. It was not as surprising as I was hoping, but it was still good. And definitely there's some really cool ties into the comics and the games and that kind of stuff too. So that was cool. What up, Hanoi? What up? How's it going? Justice for the I do want to try the IMs again. They're hurting my ears, and I have to prioritize the thing that I comfort on my head, basically. These don't look as good, obviously. Also, low key, you guys don't know this, I actually have the Legion headphones back there, the Steel Series, but they're also huge. So I'm also kind of partial to the open back thing. They're really good for streaming and hearing yourself talk. So I don't know. That's smart, Dream. Yeah, I think you've not seen the trailer. It definitely would be more surprising. But yeah, I had to kind of known some of the characters that would be in the movie, and so that was, yeah. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. I was glad I went to see it. First time I've seen a movie in a while. I might try and see Odyssey too, and low-key the Paw Patrol movie. That's gonna be sick because might be my movies or my kid's first movie. So we'll see. It'll be kind of cool. What's up, Yugi? Did they do a Marvel Rivals collab for Spider-Man? I think you can get his skin in the game, which is just a Spider-Man skin. It's kind of like the other one still, but it's fun. Also, this is like my focus playlist, chat, because I'm going to be focusing and talking tonight, so you guys get less of the EDM crazy or like guitar stuff. It's more like the low-key kind of backing track stuff. I'm going to take off the shuffle because I don't know what shuffle's going to give me. Random shuffle. Do this. You see the Odyssey in 4D? I saw that, like the whole chair moving around and smells and stuff. That's crazy. Come up here and I'll take you to see the Odyssey in 70. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I did see the IMAX stuff is huge, right? I mean, it's a totally different aspect ratio, so that would be kind of cool to see. What's up, How are you doing? What's up, Jagger? Welcome in. Dalton, what's going on? Chat, should I gift? Perhaps. It's up to you. Actually, if you low-key, I don't think I've gotten a YouTube gift before. I don't know if that works. You can try it. I don't know what would happen if you did. I think it's all through Streamlabs, so it didn't work. I don't know. You seen Obsession? I heard that was good too. This is a big movie year in general. There's a lot of movies happening this year. You avoid the trailers, but you dumbly clicked an interview that instantly revealed a certain actor, and that's how you found out they're on. Yeah, exactly. Bad at art. So that, I think if you knew that, and like, because I had known, I will say I think that character is probably lesser known to a lot of people who don't follow Marvel more, because she's, I would say, not sort of a top level character, such as the MCU, right? That person is a new character, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody else now. Yet. Drew, just got my podcast on Instagram. Hey, nice. That's crazy. Think about the optimization. Actually, I should schedule those to go out while I'm live, because then you could like see them live. I've even thought about streaming this to Instagram. Actually, it would be kind of, I think as far as like streaming to Instagram goes, a podcast would be interesting to try. I don't know. We'll see. Instagram streaming is really weird though, because you have to do a different stream key each time. And also, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Instagram Live, but the audio gets all distorted half the time. Sounds like the person's in a cave or something, and their pitch just goes up and down. It's a little odd. I don't know. It's too complicated. Yep, you're all part of the podcast. That's right. You're a part of the interactive podcast. Speaking of, it is 9:07. You guys think we should get started with episode 1, episode 2? I don't know. Technically, the first one I did last time was episode 0, because it was kind of the talking about what the show is. This is the first proper episode that is still, it's kind of an offshoot of last week, you'll see, but I think it'll help add some stuff to it, you know. Yes, you are being content farmed by me. Exactly. I'm also going to try to be more interactive this time. Last time when I did the podcast last week, the first 20 minutes was me just kind of talking straight, and there'll be some of that, but my goal for this one is to try and work on making it interact, just like a regular stream, basically back and forth, and not just me talking and you just sitting there or just typing stuff that I'm not reading. You know, we'll see. Working on it. This is episode 1, previous one's episode 0.5. Yeah, because I see that as like the foundation of like what the show is. This is still a little bit what the show is, but it's more a group thing and a proper episode, so you'll see. And it's also, I'll talk about this too, but we're gonna have different types of episodes throughout the show, and this one's more of the self-dev style. They will not all be that way, so stay tuned. Yes, proof of concept. And like I said, my whole idea with this show is to just keep doing it, and we'll figure it out along the way, you know. I know I want to do the thing, and we'll shape it as we go. I'm not locked into a certain format necessarily yet, so it's gonna be figure it out as we go. What's up, Yugi? How's it going? All right, chat, let's get started. Ready? proper podcasting mode. And yeah, you figured out the little like pop-up message thing, Al. See if you can do that. Okay. All right, chat. Guys, welcome back to the Ben Green Show, episode 1. Yeah, 1, right? Not 0. Guys, do you ever feel like there's something that you've always wanted to do, but you've just never gotten around to doing it for whatever reason? It could be a lot of different reasons for doing that, and probably a lot of different things come to mind in that vein. Maybe it's multiple things, but there's one thing that sticks out to you more than others. Either something you want to achieve or a kind of person you want to be, things like that. I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and so I want to do a podcast episode about it and talk about it as a group, and we can kind of figure out where we're going to go with this. But the idea behind the title of this episode is you can literally just do things. And that's something that I've been thinking about that a lot recently. It's kind of been changing my brain a little bit on things I want to do and things I've always wanted to do and never gotten around to doing, right? And the podcast is obviously an example of that, because I have wanted to do a podcast. I mean, I've done podcasts before, but this is the first podcast that I've owned. And up until last week, I had mental blocks around, oh, that couldn't be me, or like, I can't do a podcast. I don't have the time, or I couldn't bring anything new to the table. There's always some reason not to do it, right? So that's an example for me of something that I always wanted to do, but had issues around. But this could apply to anything. I mean, whether you want to be trying to be a healthier person or an athlete, or, go on a diet and get healthy, or it could be career aspirations. If you want to be an executive or something, or a creator, or own your own business, or, I mean, all the way up to my kid wants to be an astronaut, right? I mean, it could be something crazy like that. That's really, really hard to do, or something that's more manageable. You want to learn to play an instrument or something, or you want to learn to do something new. All those things we create mental blocks around, and I want to try to talk about ways to deal with that. This is not meant to be me lecturing people on how to do things, by the way. This is an interactive thing, like I said, that we'll be back and forth on. So I want to get your thoughts on this as we go through, but I'll share some of my own experience around this lately and thoughts and progress I've had here. So again, the first thing to talk about on my end is I'll just give some background to like where I've had this recently and things I've gone through. So I think I've had a lot of mental blocks on different parts of my life with, either like fitness and diet or career and creating and things like that. I want to do a lot of different things. Obviously, that's the main thing. And I know that some other people here do as well, which might lead to things like creative paralysis, which we'll get into in a little bit. If you do deal with that, I feel the same. And you can probably see that from the show. I play games on here. I'm starting a podcast. I play music on here. I do fitness content. I do health content. So if you're like that and you have a lot of interests and have a hard time choosing where to go, then I feel you. And we'll talk about that as part of this as well. But just to give you a perspective of kind of like where I've made progress here and where I'm still working on it, I have recently done a couple things to really break through here. Again, the first of the podcast, we started out last week officially. So that is the thing that's happening. And I think if I stick to it, I will overcome that mental block. I feel like I'm pretty happy with where I'm at in terms of health and fitness overall. Definitely have room to improve, but at this point I work out pretty much every day without thinking about it. And that's a habit that took a long time to build. But now I do kind of see myself as like that type of person who, is an athlete, you might say, or is into fitness, and that's just a part of who I am. And there's other places. The other thing too I was going to say is not only this podcast, but I'm really trying to take this creator thing seriously. And that was something I had mental blocks around for a while too. So, and for a while it was funny because I was doing things like the Stream Key podcast, which are all about teaching people how to be good streamers. And then I would go to stream and have issues around, oh, I gotta be the perfect kind of streamer. And I gotta make sure I'm like, doing all the things that I say that I'm supposed to be doing. So I was creating a lot of mental pressure on myself around what I have to do and creating really high expectations for myself. But I think I've made some progress there. I did actually start like an LLC for myself recently. And, I've hired editors. I've put money into this thing and a plan for it. So I've made progress there. The biggest thing though, where I've struggled is actually music. And that's the one I want to kind of talk through as like a use case and workshop like how to attack it today. So as you guys might know and see if you're watching the video side, I play guitar and I've always been a huge, like, music is very core to who I am as a person in a very visceral way. Like, more so than, like, I care more about being a musician and music than I do about streaming, bluntly, or creating, or fitness, or health, or any of that stuff. Like, there's something just very personally meaningful to me about music. I don't know if you guys have something like that in your life as well, that's like, it's core to your identity in a way. And I've always played guitar, and I've done shows and things. I've done a lot of stuff like that, but I've always struggled to make music for some reason. And I don't know exactly why that is, but I think the biggest thing is because it's so viscerally important to me as a person, I have really high expectations for myself. And also I just get overwhelmed with possibilities of things or make excuses. But I want to focus on that idea, because hopefully what you can do with this episode is whatever the thing is to you that matters. It can be multiple things, right? But whatever the thing that comes to mind with this idea of something you want to do but struggle to do, walk with me through that process through this episode. That's the idea. So think of whatever comes to mind in that way. So again, the idea with this is you can just do things, because you might have the idea that you couldn't be this kind of person, right? Whether it's, oh, I can't be an athlete, or I can't be a runner, I can't lose weight, I can't be a musician. Like, those are things that we think, but I really feel like I've had like an unlock recently of, we can just, like, that could just be anybody, you know? I mean, whoever you think of, whether it's a musician or an artist, a creator, a business owner, a parent, you know, a cook, even like an astronaut, a millionaire, or whatever. These are all just people. And I feel like we kind of get in our heads about, like, these are special people that were talented or born a certain way, and I don't have that thing, right? But I really have been trying to challenge that for myself recently, and I think it's worth thinking about on your end too, of like, what if I try to do that thing and be that kind of person? And so for like me recently, that was the creator type of thing, right? Like, could I own my own creator business? Could I actually host my own podcast? And I had a lot of blocks around that until recently. And so the thing I'm working on now is the musician part, and not a musician, but more about like recording music specifically and making an album, because that's something I've always wanted to do. But like, there's been some sort of block on me about being able to actually do it. So the first point we're talking about through here is like how to choose the thing. Because again, you might have a lot of ideas about what you want to work on or things you want to do, especially if you're like me and you are a very creative person and ambitious person and you want to jump through all those things. The way I think, so here's the thing. The first thing, the most important thing is just to start on something, right? This kind of goes back to last week's episode, and you can kind of choose from a couple different areas. One could be something that is top of mind recently that you can't stop thinking about. If you're obsessed with something and it's just all you're thinking about recently, that's probably the thing you should focus on. The other thing is, again, if there's something that's like really core to you as a person, I think that's important. And the thing is, like, you can't do everything at the same time, right? Obviously, like, it's best if you can kind of focus on one area and go really deep on that area to be the best at it. But if you do have a lot of different ambitions, like, again, for me, I wanted to have the health and fitness stuff and the creator business and the podcast and music, and I'm a dad and whatever. Like, I breadth matters to me versus I can't like just be a musician, right? That doesn't fit my life. So I think the focus is to find something that's like really core to you. And the other thing you can do is think about the thing that will make everything else easier, which I'll just be honest, to me, this is fitness and health. Like, if you're trying to pick one area to start with, try to find something that, like, if you're good at that one thing, it would then make everything else easier to do. So if, like, in my case, I would say I've got the health and diet thing down pretty comfortably to the point where, like, I have a really clear routine on my diet. I work out pretty much every day without having to think about it because it's a habit at this point. And because I do those things, they give me a lot of energy to do the other creative things down the line. And similarly, I started with the creator business stuff and the streaming, and even like the way we're doing this podcast live right now, it's all designs that I can do it in a habit every Sunday and just build that as it's something I just do without thinking. And then now I have room for the music after that too to bake into there. So I think that's worth, I kind of call them like cornerstone habits or cornerstone things that you can build on, right? So those are the two ways I would pick like one thing to start. Either it's something that's really just matters and you have to do it and it's important, or something you can build on over time and stack more habits on top of that. That's the idea. Bad at heart, you said this happens a lot with hobbies for me, like you enjoy doing them, but somehow never get around to it. Yes. And that's what we're kind of talking about and how to deal with those. Because the thing I really feel, and hope you guys probably feel too, is I don't want to get to be, 60, 80, whatever, and have regret not doing something, because it's always really easy to excuse something day of, and there are real reasons not to do things, right? I mean, especially if there's so many life circumstances, whether it's your health or you have young kids and just little time to do things, or you're just trying to make ends meet basically with your real job and things like that. Like, there are real reasons not to do these things, but also the reality is you're getting older and time stops for nobody. And at some point you're not maybe gonna have time to do the thing anymore. So that is just something to keep in mind as a real thing. So for me, that's what I'm gonna walk through, like my plan to attack music with you guys today, and how I've kind of gone through and hit multiple different areas, but like the music thing to me really matters. So I think hopefully you'll find some relation as we go through it. But yeah, on that point, in terms of picking something, the first thing obviously is like to stick to it and like try to do one thing at a time if possible to build the habit. I think that's important. But also, like when you're choosing something, I think just what I said to Art there, if you think about something that you would regret not doing when you're older, specifically, like for me, as an example, there are things like climbing ranked in games. I like doing that stuff, but like I'm not gonna be 40, or no, I'm not gonna be like 60 and wish I'd gotten GM in League of Legends or something. Those are things that are fun to do and achieve, but like they don't have that same deep meaning. But also similar, like other things that are important, right? I want to, for example, I kind of want to run a half marathon at some point, but I don't think I'm going to get to 60 or 80 and be, regretting not having run a half marathon the same way I would regret not having written music. Like that, I think would really bother me. So that's a good kind of compass of knowing what stuff you should really be going after too, in my opinion. Okay, so doing the thing. If you know the thing that you want to do, how do you actually do the thing? And we'll talk about continuing the thing too. But to start the thing, this is sometimes easier said than done, but also it isn't. The biggest thing for me if you want to actually start something, once you know what you want to start with, is to make it easy, is the first thing, right? So drop the pressure on yourself and try to make it simple and then build from there. So if it is health and diet, I talked about this last week a little bit, but just start moving in some way. Try to improve one meal. You don't have to, it's very easy to go into something like this, especially if it matters to you a lot, and set these really big expectations for yourself. And you have to do it perfectly, right? Because it's so important. But that, I think, it really leads to burnout if you do that too much, because it might even work for a couple of days and you might have a really good initial start, but then you lose that ability to sustain it. So the classic example of this is for fitness and diet, right? If you set this really complex workout plan or something, and then you also have this meal plan where you're counting every single calorie and you're min-maxing everything, and you have a really severe deficit in your diet, and it might work for a couple of days or a week or something. You see the scale go down and you get some initial dopamine, but then you get to that end of that week and you're so burnt out from all the calorie counting and this crazy new workout, and you're not getting any energy because you're not eating anything, and then you just rebound and eat it all back and undo all the progress. So one of the biggest things, in my opinion, is to start with a realistic goal and just start a little bit, because the thing about progress is it's very addictive, right? If you can just get that first little bit of start, it's easier to stack 1% more and snowball a little bit more each day. I think that's really important. Again, for my example, the podcast, I've talked about this. I don't fully know where this podcast is going to go. I'm still figuring out the exact kind of theme, but I just wanted to have it started and launched. So I know that I can just sit down and do a stream every Sunday, and that becomes a podcast, and that's pretty easy. I don't have, someday I might do things like have B-roll on here, do interviews, have some sort of like slides to show you guys and the whole presentation. Right now I'm just trying to do it and create the habit to the point where I don't have to think about it. And then once that mental pressure of having to do it each week is gone, then I can open up into things like, making more intricate podcast plans and that sort of thing. But the big thing for me is to build the habit and just start stacking that from there. That's the idea. PowerPoint. I did a PowerPoint. It didn't like the way it came out, so we'll see. trying to do real estate because I'm also, I mean, again, I've got 2 little kids. I have maybe an hour free time a day. So the idea is just to maximize that with what I can right now. That's the idea. Okay, so that's some of those things. The other things about other tips on how you can start it. This kind of goes into how to stick to things too. I'll kind of fuse these things together. So another one is schedule and deadline. So again, for me with the podcast, I know that I'm going to do a podcast live every night, every Sunday at 9 p.m. And that's a deadline I've publicly told you guys it's going to happen. So I have to stick to it. And that works really well for building the habit because like even today, up till, I don't know if you guys are procrastinators, but I was working on the script right up until the end. So a schedule and a deadline really does help you stick to things, especially if it's, public with other people. That's another piece as well is accountability. And I do want to plug our little Discord because I think we're going to try to use Discord to keep each other accountable. If you're interested, if you have a goal or something, you want to have somebody help you with it, you can definitely do that. But yeah, having somebody either in person or online to do the thing with you or hold you accountable is a good way. Another one I was going to mention is making it painful not to do the thing is a good one. And a lot of this stuff comes from Atomic Habits. If you've read that, similar kind of ideas. But yeah, this one is where you do something that makes it annoying for you not to do the thing or somehow inconveniences or discomforts you. So my example would be with the creator business I did recently with my own, BenjaminGreen LLC is a thing now. I made an LLC. I paid money for that. I've hired editors to make videos. I've put money and time into this. And so now if I don't follow through and do the podcast and do these episodes and my whole planning business, I've now wasted money down the drain out doing that. So it's painful in that way not to do the thing. There's other ways you can do this concept too. Of some people will do penalties for themselves, or I think there's websites where you can put up money, and if you don't do the thing, that money just goes to charity or something as a payment, or it goes to something a charity you don't like is what I've seen. So there's ways you can make basically just negative consequences for yourself if you don't do the thing. That's also fair. Or also positive reinforcement too, which I think is important either way. Like you should definitely still celebrate wins and milestones. I think even just launching and starting the thing is great, but definitely like give yourself a little bit of appreciation when you hit certain points. With things like weight loss, it's very easy because there's a number on the scale. With content, it could be like number of episodes published. If we had 10 episodes, I might do some positive stuff here. So that's some of the stuff as well. Okay, so going on to why you're not doing the thing. So we've gone through finding the thing, doing the thing, and 3 is why you're not doing the thing. Again, the biggest thing I think, a couple of things I heard from the community here. We did ask this in Discord, and I think shout out to Al and MPI and Summer and Stress, I think, who all gave some feedback on their own kind of thought. The big thing I heard was choice paralysis from people, which is totally fair because I've had that as well, where you have so many things you want to do that you can't decide which one you want to work on. And that happens to a lot of people. That I think it's healthy in a way, right? Because it's good to want to do a lot of things. It means that you're usually ambitious and you have a lot of interest, which is good. I think the only way you can navigate that is obviously one thing at a time, is try to pick one thing to focus on at a time. And also, like I said, either something that's really top of mind and will make everything else easier, or the thing that's really viscerally important to you that if you think 40 years from now that you would most regret not having done. So that could be obviously like health and fitness is really good to build on, but if there's something creatively or whatever that really in your list of topics, there's one thing that probably resonates with you the most of those things, that's probably good to start with. Stress says, I refuse to pick all 60 of my projects are important to me. But surely one of those 60 projects is more important a little bit to you than the others, right? I mean, like I said, I want to do a lot of things. I want to record an album. I want to run a half marathon. I've done a lot of things as well, but like the music thing specifically is important to my personal goals and identity. So that's a thought. Okay. Also, other reasons you might not be doing the thing: overwhelm. Is this the right thing? Like we said, you might be wondering if the thing you're working on is the right thing. And just like we said, with just having too many things to think about. And then also like time, like I said, some people realistically just don't have a lot of time to work on things. And that, as long as it's a real thing in your life, I think that's fair. It's easy to make excuses this way. And it's funny how like when you become a parent, man, you don't realize how much time you had before, which all the non-parents here are like, okay, I roll a little bit, but it's true. Like the thing is, you cannot have that much time. That can be true, but also, like I said, the time is ticking. So like you have to kind of find some way to make room for it, whether that means adjusting your sleep schedule or, like being honest with yourself on whether this thing actually matters to you that much and how much you want it. So that's there, but also just making it easier and quicker to do the thing is really, that's for me been the biggest thing with like all the things I want to do. Look at streaming, for example. Right now I'm streaming on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. And for streaming, for me, I try to make streaming as easy as possible. Just hit go live as fast as possible, because the more steps you have in front of doing the thing, the less likely you are to do it. So with music, I keep the guitar right there because it's just grab it right off the stand, right? With fitness, it's the whole thing about put out your clothes ahead of time the night before and meal prep and stuff like that. So it's really easy to do the thing. You don't have to think about it and put more effort and time into doing the thing. That's a huge part of that as well. I've talked about, when you have multiple things you want to do, prioritize the thing that makes all the other things easier and slowly build until you're able to stack on top of that. I think that's really important overall. One thing I was going to say too on this topic. So I do think there's something called what I'm calling lost dreams in a way, where there's some things you want to do that you literally just can't do anymore. And that could be for different reasons. I think the biggest ones are like health or just stage in life. So for example, if you're a 30-year-old person and you wanted to be a high school athlete or something, obviously you're probably not gonna be able to do that anymore. Or if, you wanted to be a doctor or an astronaut or something that takes a lot of time to do, that is realistically those things may not be very easy to do, but there's probably something you could still do in that vein that's worth thinking about. In the case of like being a doctor or something, are there ways you can still educate yourself on things there or be helpful in that way? That maybe it's not being a full doctor, but you could still be part of the healthcare kind of wider field. Or in the case of like being an astronaut, maybe you can't be a literal astronaut at this point if you don't have time in your life, you're not healthy or whatever, but is there something you contribute in that vein that would help astronauts or help that type of, so I think that's worth mentioning, because I'm sure some people hear this, or they have, like, you want to be a marathon runner or something, but you have some sort of health condition that just makes that physically impossible. I think that sucks. Like, we can just call it out. That's not fun if you literally can't do the thing you want to do. But is there something else you can do in that vein that would be in that direction? Or like, could you actually maybe even still do that thing if possible with a lot of work? I think that's always fair as well. You said as someone in academia, you can always come back at any age. You can see people go for MDs at 50 plus. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, well, that's the other thing is some of this stuff, like there are real lost dreams of things you can't do. And then there are others that, like, why not? That's the theme of this episode, right? Like, you can literally just do that. I think the thing I'm trying to really instill with this episode is take on the approach of why not me? Like, why can't I do this thing? How can I try my absolute hardest to make this thing possible, right? Because it's so easy to just talk yourself into, I can't do this thing. It's too late. I don't have enough skill. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have whatever the thing is, right? And I really want to push back on that. And this is also why I want this to be episode 1 of the podcast. This is really foundational to my personality and the message I want to give out, not only like into the world, but also like to my kids. Like I've talked about this before. I have a 3-year-old. He is obsessed with space, which I'm sure many kids do, but he wants to be an astronaut. And I really want to make him feel like he can be an astronaut. Like that's not a crazy thing to want. Like he can go do that. So that to me is really important too. And I want to try to make that a foundation of the show and that idea. Even the janitor at NASA helps the mission, Dream says. Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? Like, even if you can't be the person doing the thing, can you make the thing happen in some capacity or be helpful to the thing that's happening? That's a good thing to think about as well. If you can be connected to that somehow, even if that's not in you. Like for me, I kind of like have a lost dream of like being a touring musician, right? When I was growing up, that was like the dream for me, is being the guy playing guitar on stage with a band that would go around the country and tour. And now I am 33 and have 2 kids and a full-time job, and realistically it's probably not going to happen. But maybe it still could. You never know. Like I'm trying to keep that open as a possibility. And there's things that I can do in the meantime that are in that vein, whether it is just recording music and making an album and live streaming music and kind of like going that direction. So that's the thing that I would think, like, can you reopen that thought a little bit and reinvestigate there? Why not me? Exactly, Dorian. That's the idea. Stress says, but what if you think you're dumb for the field? I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're joking there maybe, but that is a real mental block that people have of like, oh, I'm too dumb for this thing. That couldn't be me. But why not? And I really think that can be you. If the thing matters to you enough and it's that important to you, then why not try to have a shot at it and just explore it and see what would happen. So that's the thought. Al, you said, I think sitting with failure or not being able to do something is huge. Not a lot of people will want to come to terms with that. I think sitting with failure or not being able to do something is huge. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're physically not able to do something, like, I think that's worth mourning a little bit if a dream is like legitimately unreachable. But also don't fully give up on that thing, right? If you can make other people get closer to that thing or help with that mission. Like, again, for me, I like talking about astronaut stuff because to me that's like not the pinnacle, but like, man, in terms of goals to strive for. I mean, trying to fly to another planet, it's hard to think of something that's bigger. Unless you're like curing cancer or something, like these goals are ridiculously hard to think about, right? But I mean, they're people. Like the astronauts that flew around the moon recently, they're just people. Like, that's the thing I'm trying to get across here is why not? It could be any of us. I mean, we can't all go to school the way the astronauts did probably at this point, but I want people who are on that path to take that seriously and think about how could that be me someday, you know? It is, like, that's crazy to think about. Like, these are all just people, or the athlete you respect, the musician, the artist, the doctor, whoever the person in your life that you really respect and deeply admire. That's just a person. Like, that could be you. You know what I mean? I think that's crazy. Nick, you said, I kind of went that route myself. I wanted to get into UI UX for video games with a work-life balance that feels just not suitable for also being a present father. So instead I'm going UI UX for a gaming community and still get to be involved in some capacity with the gaming sphere. Yeah, exactly. I think as long as you have like the direction you want to go, you'll be surprised where life takes you in that way. I mean, kind of same for me. Like I ended up in the gaming industry sort of by accident, and I don't work for a gaming company, but I work in a gaming adjacent company, and it's because I think gaming, I've always been part of gaming growing up, and it's a really big value to me and core to my identity too, along with the music and everything else. So I really like being able to work at a company that values gaming as like a benefit to society, and it shows a lot of things you can do that are cool with gaming. So that's a good example of just finding things in that direction that you can be part of, whatever the thing is you want to do, right? Anyway, I think we talked about how to stick with things. So my goal, I want to talk through my specific goal, right? Because I've talked about the one that I have not really made progress on that I want to do is specifically recording music. You know, that one I need to make some sort of actionable plan on to do. So I'm going to share mine with you, and you guys can also, if you have ideas of your own, you've talked about your own thoughts, but what I'm going to do is commit Tuesday nights starting this week, so 2 days from now, off stream. I'm going to commit Tuesday nights to do an hour of dedicated guitar playing and recording music, and then sharing whatever I make in Discord after the fact, either a new riff or a expansion of something I made like the previous week. But I have to share it publicly. That's like my deadline to myself, and a specific time and place I'm going to do the thing each night to make progress on it. So that's my relatively achievable, easy way to start the thing and build the habit that will get me closer to the goal I want to get to. And I hope that's helpful as like an example. Like I said, I don't have, I would like to make an album someday. That, to me, the first step to that is just sitting down and making time for the thing each day, each week at a specific time, and having a deliverable to put out at the end of that time. So I'm going to try to share with you guys in Discord when I make the thing, and you can kind of see it evolve in real time. I also will make a Discord channel for sharing progress on goals. If you want to have that accountability, you can definitely do that. Obviously, we'll also share podcast stuff ahead of time too. But like specifically the goal thing, I want to make a core thing to put to the podcast and the community, so that you can get accountability and we can all kind of help each other along. I think that's gonna be really cool to share. Okay, so that is overall what I want to talk about. Again, the theme of this is you can literally just do things. Whatever that thing is that you want to go do, why can't you go do it in some way? That's the energy I want to transmit out here. I want to hear. It's now open for Q&A for you guys. We've had some kind of Q&A already, but what do you think about this topic? Is there anything that comes to mind for you as the thing you really want to do, or thing you've had mental blocks around, or is there something we haven't talked about yet in this conversation that you think we should expand on? Because I'm also open to that. If there's some new direction we should go, and some feedback you have on there too. What's up, DJ? How's it going, dude? Also, I think I figured out how to like snip around. So if you guys listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, whatever, the welcomes and stuff will get cut out, like this will get cut out, but then the meat will still be there. So I'm playing out the editing side as well. And if you don't share it, how do you hold me accountable? Fair. Yeah, you can, I mean, I'll post it in there, but yeah, you can ping me and say like, hey Ben, where's the guitar? Where's the music? And that's what I need. Like that's the motivation, man. And if you want that for yourself, we can do that. Like, hey, where's the update, man? You said it would be this time, this place, where's it at? Well, and that's literally like the podcast. Like I set myself, I've publicly announced the schedule of this podcast everywhere. And so now if I don't do the podcast, people be like, dude, where's the podcast? And the whole first episode was like about how much podcasts fail. So if I fail this podcast, man, it's embarrassing, because then everybody can be like, dude, you got a whole thing about it and then you failed. So now it's painful for me to fail, and now I have to stick to it. That was kind of the idea. We make Ben play Roblox. Yeah, that would be an even more negative consequence. That's true. That'd be an option. You want to get into game dev and music, Lobster? Which of those two do you feel like you care more about? Again, like if you're thinking 10, 20 years from now, which one do you think that you'll regret not having invested in more? I think that's a good way to think. Podcast on why he doesn't play Roblox. We'll see. You gotta at least get 10 episodes to be at 99%. Yeah, I think it's like 20% gets you in the top 1% or something. So 20. I think we'll do that. Also, I didn't mention this yet, but we're going to be doing this, obviously, like I said, is a self-dev focused episode. They are not all going to be self-dev episodes. The last two have kind of been that, but like I think next week I'm going to challenge myself to do a gaming focused one that's just talking about a game in some way, or like the gaming industry, to mix up a little bit. So stay tuned. We'll see. You like both, but game dev? Yeah. I mean, I do think it's good to focus on one thing at a time, generally, at least to like build the habit, right? I think you can have multiple habits going at the same time, but it does work better to kind of build one habit at a time, where like for me, the podcast one, I'm this is week 2-ish/3, and I feel like I've kind of got it now. It'll probably take a couple more weeks to really get in the full habit of it, but now I'm out on the music one, versus like I think you would try and do, okay, this week I'm gonna do a podcast this day, music this day, gaming this day, and you just don't want to avoid overwhelm, right? Like don't get into overwhelm, I mean, because it's really easy to do that, and that's when you burn out and lose the progress and have to reset all over again. Demon's Void, you said, I want to start writing fantasy, but haven't gotten around to start. Fair. Have you, again, this is not me mandating you to do this, but have you like set some sort of habit that would start you doing that? Again, like a book like that is a good example too, right, man? Because it's easy to think about like, man, I got to write a whole book, right? But could you just start with like a short story or like an essay or something, or even just sitting down and committing a certain amount of time or words each day, or each once a week? I think that's probably how most writers do it. And you just stack from there, right? I think that's the most important thing. It's not even about making stuff that's good. It's just about making stuff, honestly. Because it's so easy to have this pressure on yourself. Like that's something with music, man. I feel like whatever I make music wise, and this is something I probably should have talked about too. I don't know if you guys have an area of your life where you do something and people tell you you're good at that thing, because it has a weirdly double-edged sword effect on you, where it's nice to get the validation of like people I've many times said like, oh, you're a good guitar, man, you're like a good guitar player, which is really nice. But also then you have like this expectation publicly of, I have to be good at this thing. People tell me I'm good at this thing, so if I'm bad at this thing, then I'm letting them down, or like I'm not living up to the expectations. And to me, that's been a part of music, right? Is I've been playing guitar for 20 years and I've been hearing that for 20 years, which I appreciate. But now I feel like if I make music, man, like the expectations through the roof. So that's what I'm trying to break down in my head and say, no, I just gotta make something and then build from there, right? And it can be, and not just music, but I mean, anything, whether it's writing or fitness or anything, right? Like that applies to everything. What's up, Devin? How's it going, dude? Thoughts on daily habits? Is it too much? I've been contemplating trying to post a video every day just to power build more skills and creation. I think it depends on the habit. I think I've seen some people do the daily video thing really well, actually. And I feel like if making videos to you specifically is really important, it's actually probably a very good skill, but it also depends on what the videos you want to make are. You know, if you're doing like short form videos, I think daily is probably doable depending on how polished you want them. I also just do think short form video is a quantity over quality game sometimes, maybe less so now with AI and everything. But the thing that like the daily habit does with you with content is it just makes you get really good at the process, right? Just like with daily streaming or anything, you get so many reps in so quickly of the thing that it's not about like how good the content is even that's going out. It's just about how good you're getting at the process of making the thing. Because it shortens the time between idea and execution a lot, which I think is really valuable. And that's true for music too, man. That's why I want to build a music habit, because the biggest challenge for me with music is like overwhelmed with how complicated the tools are and trying to figure out what you want to do. But you just have to do it and just keep putting time in to learn it. And it's the whole 10,000 hours mastery rule. So yeah, but yeah, don't force it for sure. I mean, and that's why I say it's a balance, right? Like, and you have to take kind of your life circumstances into account. Like, cause for me, I don't think I could do the daily video challenge, because then I would just have room for nothing else creatively. And it would be too much for me. But you know, like once a week for music feels sustainable for me. I do not think I could do the everyday music kind of thing. It would just burn me out too quickly. So just depends on how much time you have and you know, your life circumstances as well. But I think building the habit, I mean, if you can, like working out daily, for me, that one is a really good one, because, or just moving daily, that becomes the foundation to you, and it does make everything else easier. So in my opinion, that one makes a lot of sense. Most authors write multiple books before they get something publishable. Dream said, yeah, exactly. And not only that, but they probably make a lot of stuff that never sees the light of day, even book wise. It's just like concepts of things. So I think that's totally fair. Demons, you said definitely need to force myself to start, even if it's with something small. Yeah, that's how you start with anything, I think, man. It's just one step after the other. But yeah, the point, it's a weird balance. Like you want to shoot for the thing that is a big project, right? That's daunting, but also make yourself a very realistic, easy first step towards that goal. You know, it's the whole every climb a mountain begins with a single step kind of thing. It's that metaphor has been done to death, but it's so true. That's how you make progress on anything, man. So hopefully this whole talk has helped you kind of think through if there is something that bothers you want to make progress on. Because like I think like the reason that I mentioned the music thing for me is I've had the idea of wanting to do music for like over a decade now in the back of my head, and it's always been that thing that I'll get to that someday. Like maybe when my kids are older and I don't have to work as much and I have more free time, then I'll have time to work on this thing. But I feel like there's always going to be an excuse not to do the thing. And also I don't really want to do the thing when I'm 60 or 70 and I kind of miss like when I had the most energy to do things, and I'm also missing out like 20 years of doing something. So that's kind of why I want to talk about it, because I don't want to just write that off as like a forgotten dream kind of thing. I want to really make sure that I have a chance to do that, and hopefully you guys relate to that. Dream, you said working out daily is my current goal. I do tend to do a workout 3 or 4 days a week, but you only walk like 2 or 3 days a week. Need to do that more. Yeah. And I think with anything, you have to give yourself a little bit of grace. There's a really good rule that Matt D'Avella has. I don't know if you guys know Matt D'Avella, which is like the 2-day rule, I think, where he allows himself 1 day off, but never 2 in a row, which I think is a good, because some things will happen, some things will come up where you can't do that thing. I mean, for me, it's like I have to travel across the country to see my family sometimes, and that's just an entire day of driving, and I'm not going to work out that day. I'm not going to record a video that day. It's just impossible. But as long as like when you have the days to do the things, you do the thing, that's what matters. And also, like I said, just getting like some sort of motion in, whether it is like I like the working out example because it's so relatable to everybody, but just getting some short walk in a day, or even, you know, like playing with your kids or something, or some sort of motion, walking a dog outside, stuff like that. You have an idea for a game, but you don't know how to execute it? Maybe I should start small. Lobster, I have an idea for an album, but I don't know how to execute it. I'm going to start small. I'm right there with you, dude. I will say, like, this is also one of the best times ever, probably the best time ever to get into something, because there's just so much knowledge out there to take in. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, if you want to learn how to do something, like, YouTube was just starting, and a lot of the tutorials out there were very surface level. Nowadays, man, you have all human history on your phone, in your pocket. And if you want to learn how to do something, there is a way to do it that you can just Google or use an AI tool or something for it to find. Like, there's so much resource knowledge out there now that you just have to tap into. So I think it's fair. But yeah, I mean, I've felt that. Like, to me, the DAWs, which are like the digital audio workshops or whatever, something like that, what you make music in can be very overwhelming to me. But I also know it's just a matter of learning. I mean, the same way that OBS was overwhelming to me when I started streaming, or, you know, all these other tools that we use. It just takes time and practice. So one day at a time, man. I think the biggest thing is, like, set a time and consistent habit to build on that, and have some sort of thing you come out with at the end of each session to track towards it. Stress, you said, my entire identity at this point is having to be right all the time, since I'm the only reason we still... Fair. That's then the ego's part of it too. I think the ego kind of goes into like perfectionism things sometimes too, and having good high expectations for yourself. So that's definitely something I've struggled with as well. Hi Neon, how are you? Welcome in. You just make more friends and connections. That's fair too, man. Like, I mean, we're talking about a lot of big goals here in terms of the astronaut metaphors and doctors and things, but yeah, I mean, we could, and this is almost another good separate podcast episode, but just having connection these days is definitely harder, man. That's why I like doing the streaming and stuff. But same thing on that front. If you want to make progress on that, like, what's an action or habit you can take each week that gets you closer to that? To be honest, man, it's same as anything. It's a different type of action, right? It's not you sitting down by yourself and working on something. It's more like, are you going out to a new place and connecting with somebody? Or are you like trying to join a group or something that's going to meet, stuff like that, right? But it's still a goal in a way. Al, you said my goal is to become a cooler Jeff Keighley. I want to know all the players and make the connections happen, but not be a dweeb while doing it. Well, we can't replace Jeff Keighley. I mean, that's a good example too, man. Jeff's just a dude. Like, I don't know. I have so much respect for people who put on stuff like that. It's so easy to hate on people who are figureheads like that, right? Like, I think the classic example is like Mr. Beast, man. Like, people love to hate on Mr. Beast because he is the biggest YouTuber in the world, and he plays into, obviously, there's the whole Mr. Beastification of YouTube now, and clickbaitiness, and I locked 1,000 people in a dumpster kind of energy. But also, dude, like, the fact that he was just a kid in high school and built this ridiculous sized channel, and just the type of empire is built. It just seemed like that rise of someone who was just nobody to that level. You know, anybody like that is just kind of crazy to think, because at some point you stop thinking them as like a regular person, but they're all just regular people, man. It's wild. What's up, Rob? How's it going, dude? Got a closet of shoes. Yeah, that's what I want to share with you guys. Like I said, I think next week I'm going to try to do an episode that is more focused on something non-self-dev. It's more around gaming or streaming or something more kind of fun-ish. And then I'm also doing an interview episode soon. I don't know exactly who we're going to interview yet, but my goal with the first 10 episodes is to kind of do a range of content types, and just to try those for myself and see which ones feel best, but also see which ones you guys respond best to, and just try some different types of formats and themes. And because that's also, I think, how the show's going to go, right? Like, the big focus for me with this is to have the ability to go into lots of different types of topics and talk about them and not get locked. Because, like, for example, if I just did self-dev every week, I'd get very burned out. I think you guys would too. So I'll make sure we expand and cover different stuff each week. And there's some other self-dev stuff I want to talk about, even like fitness stuff I want to talk about, but we'll toggle, we'll switch between it a little bit each week, so it gets a little bit different. I know a dude that hosts the largest hardcore festival in LA, and he was just some dude in high school that hosted small shows. Dude, that's how it goes, man. People just start with something easy and just keep building it and building it and building it. And that's how anything big, anything cool starts, is lots of slow momentum over time. You should interview Hideo Kojima. Again, if we can get him on, man. But okay, that's the thing. Like, that's a good example of, that seems crazy right now, but man, someday you never know. Like, if I do 1,000 episodes of podcast and I just try and make it 1% better each time, there's a world that happens, you know. It's not likely right now, but you never know. Someday could be possible. Also, yeah, if you guys have topics you want to hear about, let me know. I have some ideas that I want to kind of hit on in the next couple of weeks around. I want to do one around gaming for sure. Like maybe talking about actual games I've played or want to play, things like that. And maybe some like the news kind of stuff in gaming and streaming. But I also have some around like health and fitness, and like maybe like what I might do is on how to build your meal plan, sort of, because I'm going to be going into a bulking season soon. So like talk about that whole process and how to plan that out. We'll see. But also some new stuff. Send an email, seriously chat. Your chances are always zero if you never try. Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. Yeah, at least, I mean, the worst they can say is no, right? If you have something like that, it's worth taking a shot at. Hot Ones started small, yeah. And they just keep building and building. Now they're on Netflix or something, and they're getting, contract deals for networks and things. That's pretty wild, man. That's honestly why I want to do the creator thing. And that's kind of my whole focus of this entire, not just this podcast, but streaming and YouTube and everything is, I just want to see where this goes, man. I want to build the habit because I love podcasting. I love streaming and podcasting. They go together very well. And I just want to set a schedule to it, stick to it, get 1% better. And literally 10 years from now, I want to see where it goes. There's this whole perception that content is flash in the pan and it'll only last a year or 5 years and your content career is short. I think that's totally wrong. And I think if people are smart, it'll last 20 years or more, pending some, unless the internet disappears or something. So yeah, with all that stuff though, it's like what even the music, it's like if I just keep sticking to that every week, you think about that, man, you make a weekly habit, that's 52 sessions in a year. That's 500 sessions over 10 years. It would be unreasonable to not make progress on that thing at some point, If you told somebody like, hey, I'm gonna work on this thing every week for a year, then you would think you have something worth showing at the end of that. So I think that's how you build towards something useful. Okay, I think I covered most of the topics I want to talk about. But yeah, just to kind of close off here with the podcast, a couple of things I mentioned, and we'll still yap a little bit, but the podcast is live everywhere now. The first episode went out on Friday. It is on Spotify. It is on Apple. It's on YouTube. It's on Amazon. I think it's on everything else. I don't know if you guys do podcasts at other places, but Castbox, some other places too, it's out there. I would sincerely appreciate if you don't mind following and or leaving a review on those platforms because that helps it get seen. And this podcast is really built for word of mouth. I'm not really SEO optimizing the Ben Green show as a title. It's more just hopefully it gets shared. And if it helped you, definitely share it with somebody else. This is going out to the audio listeners that are listening as well. But yeah, it'll be out on the schedule is every Sunday night. It'll be live at 9 p.m. on my Twitch and YouTube channels. You can catch it there and have the live interaction. If you can't make the live show for any reason, but you want to have some of your stuff featured, there is a section in the Discord it's called Podcast Topic Pre-Wire. And I will kind of like pre-share the topic theme a couple days in advance in there. And if you add some comments in there, I might pull your comments on the show because I do stream pretty late, 9 p.m. on a Sunday. So I would mention that anybody listening online or watching, if you can't make the live show, but would like to get the live interaction. And like I said, we're also going to have a podcast channel set up in the Discord for goal tracking. So if you have something you want to work towards in your life, whether it's health, fitness, music, creative, business, whatever in your life, and you want somebody to help you hold accountable, then you can hop in Discord and we can help do that with you. That's what I wanted to mention. But yeah, thank you for the support. I hope you guys keep listening and watching and tuning in on Sundays. I'm really excited to see how this goes in the long term. Also, if you have somebody you would like me to interview, you can definitely mention that. I think I'd like to interview some streamers because that's what I've done a lot of in the past. If they're available at 9 p.m. on a Sunday, we'll see. But I'm also open to kind of different types of self-dev, fitness, all sorts of people. That would be cool. So we'll see. At some point, I do want to do interviews as well. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching this one. All right, that's the wrap of the podcast proper, but now we're still streaming, guys. That was just my little outro. It's stream live after all. Hi, YouTube, as they say. You can say. What's up, Dingus? Today I talked about you can just do things, which was, again, chat, this was, I had this energy a lot with myself of, I don't know, I'm in this whole kick recently. The thing I found with this is it's kind of addictive, man. We're like, you make progress on one goal, and then you're like, man, what about the next one? What else can I do? And I also think part of it's being a parent, because I don't know if we have any other parents here, but like when you're a parent, you develop, I think if you're a good parent, I'll say respectfully, you develop this like constant forward motion engine in yourself. I don't know what it is, but I've had this recently where like I am just always working on something, because there's just always something that needs to be done, especially as a parent. But now it's like this instinct of like, I just want to keep working on things and working on things and working. And it's self-sustaining in a way. When there are wins happening, it's like very motivating. So I'm very much appreciating this engine that I've developed accidentally at the same time. Chris Bowden. Why does that name sound familiar? You're trying to get dev for paperclip on Lenovo Legion, but he said no. You know, for Legion, I need to revisit the interviews for Legion. I think the interviews are tough. Well, we are going to do interviews pretty soon for creators on Legion, but it's not me doing them. It's the new creator CM. But for game devs, I would still like to do it. I just have to make it make sense for Lenovo's side. I think that would be easier for me to do on my channel right now, because they've even done some game devs with like the Unreal Fest stuff that happened recently, but I don't think it did that well. And with Lenovo, like at the end of the day, it's a business that has to, you know, connect to the product and drive viewership and things. I'm less worried about that with this channel, which is nice, because it's not, I don't have the pressure of having this to be my full-time income, you know? I don't have to generate shareholder reports and and PowerPoint. I mean, I'm still doing some PowerPoints maybe, but I don't have to like show presentations on performance the same way. So what's up, Copper? How's it going, dude? Welcome in. You got one dev book from Lenovo and you leave it at that. Wait, did you get a dev book to Lenovo? Like in the past now or in the future? But you do have to generate mod helper reports. True. Hey, Copper, having a good night, man. Welcome in. Midnight Murder Club. That's right. That was a fun game, man. That was a fun game. Yeah, I would like to do more. The real problem right now is like, I have a lot of ideas of stuff I'd like to do for stream on Legion, but it's very hard to justify streaming on Legion because I'm also a manager basically at Lenovo at this point, and anytime I'm streaming is time that I can't be like working on some of the more administrative stuff for the job. So it's tough. I might have like Will try and do more of that as long as it makes sense. The big thing for me is that it's building viewership long term, and we also have to like connect to the product in some way that makes sense, and also that's engaging. The problem that I think I had with the interviews in the past was like they were not that interactive. I feel like, because it was just me and the dev talking. No, they were, I guess they were some interactive because we used the game keys and people would generate their questions that way. That worked kind of decently well, but I think it was more like the visuals. Like, I think if I was to do it again, I would want to have gameplay showing in some way while also in the interviews that's visually interesting and not just the audio side, because that stuff worked well as just the interview side, but I think it was not that interesting to watch. Even like this podcast, man, like I would love to get some stronger visuals for this in the future, but right now I'm just trying to execute on it. With Lenovo though, it is different because like you're representing a brand, so I feel like everything I do on Legion's channel has to be up leveled because I am effectively like a representative for the company at the higher level. So there's just more pressure that's different, like the self pressure, you know, it's like the wider business pressure. But there's also this thing about like, I also kind of like the authenticity of it in a way of bringing it down to earth a little bit on Twitch. That's why I love live streaming so much for Legion, but it's a weird balance. Make Will do the nerd stuff. He actually does. That wouldn't be bad to do. And I think it could be a cool, well, in theory, it's a cool, like almost a podcast or series we could make on Legion. But the real challenge is like, I feel like no one's gonna want to watch Legion stuff for like interviews, you know, like versus a creator, because it's just a laptop brand. Like the core thing I've realized with Legion is most of the content should somehow tie back to the product, because that's what the brand is, right? And we can do like, we used to do like the Legion weekly stuff or interviews and stuff. The thing I thought was like, most people are just going to watch this from an independent source, right? Versus a brand channel. And I guess we kind of built up like the personalities a little bit to where that's gotten better. But I feel like the thing that's the unfair advantage, that's the core advantage for Legion, is the product. You know, that's the thing we can do better than anybody else. That's what I generally lean into. And even with like the new game showcases, it's like we have access to the new game stuff. We can show it on new gen stuff. That's the unique thing you can't kind of get. And that's the thing I try and focus on with Legion. Is like, what's something we can do that you can't get anywhere else, or something unique that we can do with that, you know? And this channel too, but especially with Legion. Playing the game they developed while interviewing them would be cool. Yeah, I think that's what I talked about before. But I'd love to have. This is before Will joined, but like maybe with Will, it could be like, one of us is doing the interview, the other person is playing the game, or like we hop back and forth. Because I think, yeah, it would be a lot of times people are joining in, they're hearing the interview happening, but they don't know what the game is like that they're hearing about. So it'd be nice to have like the live. Obviously, that's easy to cut up after the fact, but for the live stream, you need like two people to kind of be in tandem doing it, which is a little hard to do virtually, but there's probably a way to do it. What up, Ghost? How's it going, dude? I just wrapped the podcast recording, but it is on the VOD. And actually, by the way, I don't know which day I'm going to try and publish the podcast. I did it on Friday this past week, but that was kind of because I had to get the podcast cover art finished and stuff. So I might try and publish the podcast tomorrow. We'll see. It just depends on, I don't want to burn out too much if I'm doing music on Tuesday too, but we'll see. Not gonna lie, if it wasn't as down to earth and responsive, I would have hit permanent lurk mode long. Yeah, exactly, Al. Well, I will say, like, I think one of the things I really like doing with Legion is making it very interactive, and that's why I'm always yapping. And like I get a lot of crap from like not playing the game or whatever, but I think the interaction between chat is the differentiator in a way that, especially in a bigger channel, that feels a bit more unique. But yeah, also I really feel the other reason I like streaming a lot on Legion is I feel like it makes the brand more personable in a way than just the logo thing, right? Especially as you stick to it more and more. And that's why I think the staff, like I loved our stream team, don't get me wrong, but the problem is like the stream team was contracted at like 3 months at a time, and you would get attached to like Samora, for example. You would get to know Samora, and then like the contract would end, and then they had to get somebody else. So like I really feel like with content, you need a very long-term parasocial connection, and staff works well from that as long as they're actually personable, because they're going to be there for the long haul, and they're actually behind the brand. So, you know, like with a creator, you know, like they're on the contract, they have to kind of talk well about the brand, whatever. Like the staff is actually involved in making the product and has more of a stake in it in some way. So I kind of like that piece of that as well. So would do mod interviews. I think we did some mod interviews in the past. We probably should do a mod interview on here at some point. You guys can meet the team. We'll see. Yeah, we did interview Stress a long time. Do you remember that one, Dingus? Stress was in the gas mask and did his interview. Man, that was forever ago. But that was, do you think about Legion, about that channel was blown up so much, man. When I started streaming that channel, it was to like tens of people. It was, I think we paid to like 32 viewers, and I was excited one day. Or I distinctly remember we were playing Overwatch. I was streaming back in like probably 2020 or something. I was like, man, 32 viewers. This is great. And I was like, you know, I'm pretty sure we are the #1 brand channel for PC gaming on Twitch in terms of concurrent viewership. Not followers. Followers is a dumb metric anyway, because a lot of brands will just like throw Twitch follow on some big giveaway and no one actually watches the channel. But I'm pretty sure in terms of average viewership, we are the biggest. I think Razer was big at one point, but they don't stream anymore. I don't know. You were there in the Jeff days, no one? Dumbest Jeff, dude. RIP Jeff. He's still kicking around, but yeah, he's no longer at Lenovo, unfortunately. He has been commenting on my TikToks though. He's still around. He's due a name change. Jeff's the one I started playing Apex with, and the reason you're here, Al. Is it, man? I feel like I need to like unpack the Jeff magic, because there's definitely a lot of people who still love Jeff specifically, and he was always like, "Oh, it's because I was the older one. I pulled in the boomer demographic." But no, I don't know. I respected how Jeff was like very not afraid to be himself. You know, that I think was part of what did well, sometimes to his detriment within the company. But no, he was very bold personality, which is good. It's the power of the bald. True. What a guy, man. What a guy. I miss having him around. My name is Jeff. When will you make your own VTuber? Dude, you know what's weird is like there was this whole arc of people doing that, of streamers, like real streamers making VTubers and then going back to their just camera. I don't know why exactly. Like Scara did that and Sea Dog, I think. I don't know. A lot of streamers have done that recently. And I kind of get it because like there's some argument that being a VTuber is kind of the best because you get all like the inflection of the voice integration, but like the privacy of not seeing your face. Especially if you're younger or like a female streamer, I could definitely see that, but I don't know. It's also, you lose some of the authenticity. Dude, I think especially in the wake of AI, like, because there's gonna be so many VTuber AI streamers that you just can't tell is not a person, really. And I think we'll get like real AI streamers too, but that's much harder for an AI to replicate than just the audio, you know? That's a thought. I really think it's so cool how, interestingly, like, we've gone through this whole continuum of streams started out really simple, right? It was just like the cheapo webcam and terrible audio mic, and everybody uploaded their stuff. They got the nice microphones and cameras and everything got nicer. But now, like, we're kind of kicking back to the authentic thing of really not low quality, but like unfiltered, really real vibe, especially with AI just over polishing everything now. So it's really interesting. I love thinking about like the psychology of that kind of stuff, man. Ben, how do you know people in the chat aren't AI? It's true. I don't know. No, okay, random thought. You know what's really crazy? Like, I don't know if you guys, some people here listening will relate to this probably, but people don't realize how many lurkers there are, man. Like, especially as a streamer and a viewer, I feel like we get really locked into, like, I know the names in chat that type, right? And I know, and you guys know each other, you guys know me, but like the vast majority of people watching this stuff will never say a word. Same thing for YouTube. Like, there's so many people who are like, there's probably people watching this stream right now, this is weird to think about, who have watched a ton of streams and are like some of the most active, most loyal viewers, have never said a word, have never interacted at all. And that's just weird because it's like you kind of forget those people are there if they're not interacting, but man, it's so true. Like, think about, like, if you guys watch people on YouTube or Twitch or whoever, and I think this is especially true of like the medium to large creators, right? Where your voice would just get kind of drowned out. In smaller channels, it probably doesn't happen as much, but there's so many creators I watch, especially like YouTube, who I've probably watched hundreds of their videos. If they post a video, I'm watching it instantly, and I've never interacted with their, I might have dropped a like, I've never dropped a comment in 10 years of watching their stuff. So I don't know, it's weird to think about as a creator sometimes. Even like as a viewer, like you only see a fraction of the people that are watching the channel, man. I don't know. Why don't they type? Dude, most people don't type. Like that, there's this rule in community called the 99-1 rule, which is 90% of people will lurk. 90%, like hear that, 90% of people will lurk. 9% will interact, and 1% will be super fans. That's a general kind of mandate, and that holds up. So yeah, you think about that. Like, there's so many people who are like that. I'm like that most of the time, honestly. But like, most people can't be sitting at a computer typing a lot, or just don't feel comfortable, especially if it's a big crowd of people. Like, their message probably lost anyway. They might not know what to say, like, or people just listen to stuff, especially if you're busy. A lot of people just listen to stuff as background music, which is kind of why I did the podcast thing, because I think there's a big market for it, of just passively listening to stuff to kind of pass time. Thanos, I had a stream record 15 people, not one word, nothing, 4 hours, nothing. I mean, which is fair. Like, the thing about a creator, dude, is like, nobody owes you anything. Like, I'm lucky you guys are typing right now. You don't have to do that. I don't deserve that. You just have to kind of be entertaining enough for it. Obviously, like, it's much nicer when people type when you're a streamer, because you can actually interact with it and it makes the content interactive. But man, at the end of the day, like, you got to earn it. You got to be entertaining enough to earn it for anybody. Honestly, when I see someone stream, I'll probably lurk or just say hi and disappear. Yeah, most people do, Dingus. That's totally fine, man. Like, like I said, most people are not just sitting at a computer watching a stream as is. They're usually multitasking or, you know, listening to something. I'm usually listening to stuff while I'm like doing chores around the house or driving or whatever as a podcast. So yeah, unless it's like someone that you know, and with Twitch, like you really build that connection, which I like over time, and that it does feel that kind of two-way street. But yeah, it's just really interesting to think about. Easier to have this in the background than be, yeah, exactly. And you can like tab in to say something sometimes, but yeah, that kind of blows my mind sometimes. Ghost, you said, I know a lot of people who can't chat. They use the app on the living TV with no keyboard. Dude, that's the crazy thing, is how much TV viewership is up. Did you guys know that like people watch, like the people who watch YouTube on their TV is astronomical? Because they're even like redesigned the app for that. They upgraded the size of thumbnails you can put on YouTube videos now, specifically because people are watching so much TV content. They want higher resolution thumbnails. And also apparently it's a big way you can like kind of cheese watch time on YouTube is auto playing on TVs. Just, I don't know, it's so interesting. And it's also, I think like, I'm pretty sure YouTube on TV is now outperforming cable at some point. It's crazy, but I mean, you can watch a lot of ways nowadays. Playing Powered right now, Noah? Nice. Yeah, I feel like, you know what I think is actually ideal? If I could talk like this while also playing a game, that's like the perfect stream, man. That's like, yeah, I at some point I'll do that. That's why I think MMOs would be great. Like if you could play an MMO like this and just talk like this the whole time and have like trains of thought, with the game is back. It's like the Subway Surfer kind of thing, or like the CSGO surfing. It just gives you like a visual to kind of entertain. I need to work on that, man. Power can do that. Yeah, Power could do that too, man. You need a game that you can play without thinking, as just like on autopilot. That's the dream. Which for me is like Halo Reach or something, but it's too loud. It's something very casual. Yeah, Bloons TD6, like an auto battler or something. Like that's the dream, man. I gotta think about that. TV and Key have too many ads, dude. YouTube has ads too now. I'll tell you what, YouTube, and that's Twitch's biggest thing though, man. There's still a world where Twitch dies, by the way. Someday maybe I'll have to talk about that for a podcast, but Twitch is not making any money, and they have not been making any money for a long time. And someday the bill's gonna come due, man. And ironic as it sounds, well, I guess YouTube is the best business overall, because they're supplementing live with video, but Kick kind of has the best business right now otherwise for streaming. I don't like using Kick, but that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, we're just kind of pivoting. I need to go to bed, by the way. It's 10:15, so I need to wrap. But you guys give me ideas for topics for more podcasts potentially. Like I said, I don't want to just do self-dev, by the way. I do want to do like a gaming thing. I don't know what I want to do next week yet. Like I have other topics that I can do episodes on, but they're all kind of self-dev focused. And I want to challenge myself to do a gaming one, either like my top 5 games of all time kind of thing, or a like one game deep dive. I was also thinking I kind of want to do a series on like playing games that everyone says you should play at some point in your life. Could be really fun, which is more the single player thing you're talking about, Hal. But like, I think it'd be cool to like play through like Red Dead, or give Cyberpunk a fair shot, or you know, some classics that like I've never gotten around to. I think they could make a cool video too and a good stream, so we'll see. Top 10 of each console, maybe. Yes, post what you guys want to see, what you want to hear about in Discord. Also, we might need a new channel for the goals. Well, we need to repurpose the 2026 one. But yeah, if you guys do have like things you want to work on related to the podcast, drop them in Discord. And please check out the podcast on the platforms. I'm trying to get to, there's like some watch hours you have to hit on both YouTube and Spotify to like hit their partner level. So I'd appreciate that if you did that. Top 10 Roblox games. I do some Roblox React content. We'll see. Also, I'm streaming next on Wednesday. I'm maybe gonna play with Dweeble on Wednesday, but I also kind of want to do a React test for content type, so we might do that. We'll see. Or guitar, because I'm gonna do guitar on Tuesday, but I could also stream guitar. It would be fun. We'll see. Wednesday's the next stream here either way though, at 9 p.m. We'll see. Oh, you're good, Banjo. No worries. You can check the podcast, man. That's what the podcast is for. Check out what you missed. It's all right. All right, guys. I'm not gonna raid because I need to go to bed, but I will see you on Tuesday for Legion. By the way, so 2 new games this week. Hello This Vietnam, which You guys say I'm gonna hate. I don't know. See what happens. And then Sunken City 2. I keep calling it Sunken City 2. The Sinking City 2. Okay. That one comes out. One of them comes out Tuesday, I think. Wait, August 18th. Wait, that's next week. Never mind. Okay, it's not out yet. I don't know. We'll see. I could also play Beast Reincarnation. I don't know. We'll have 2 games this week of some kind. So we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you guys on Tuesday on Legion and on Wednesday on this channel. Bye-bye.